Hello, everybody. I'm Dwayne Raines with Key Digital Systems here with another episode of KD Live. I've got my cohort here with me, Mr. Jonathan Ferry, our VP of Product Education and Experience. And so, Jonathan, tell us a little bit about what we're going to be talking about on this episode of KD Live.
Well, I guess we would call these more of a commodity product, right?
Absolutely, but very valuable in all your systems. Comes in very handy.
Exactly. Sometimes we do these slides and the KD lives are about wow, all the wow factor in these products, right? But sometimes you just have a product that you need to be able to hang your hat on for reliability, something you're going to use many times over in your job sites. And those products are HDMI extenders. Brand new products for you, models KD-X444SP as the standard range product, and the KD-X444LP, the long range option of these HDMI extender kits. So they are kits, yes. What does that mean for you? It means that you don't have the headache of, oh, did I order the transmitter and the receiver? Do I need to order the power supply? It is all in one box for you. We make it super, super simple with the KD-X444SP and LP. You see it here compared to the other products in the HDMI extender product family. The X444SP, you see it's right there in the middle, the SP and LP with the range stepping up from our EX18Gs and X444S HD-based T extender. So, you have added distance, you have fantastic price points with these products, and we're going to go into more detail about some of the unique features on these extender kits. But first, let's start with what is the common features, the real key features that really deliver that key digital reliability that everybody needs. And one of the reasons why HDMI extenders is absolutely the most popular product category by quantity with under the Key Digital brand, the full buffer technology. So all of the products have this. With Key Digital, rest assured that every one of our products with full buffer technology, which is all of them, they're all going to be able to manage the EDID handshake for you. They all have HD.
Tell us as we do this.
Yeah.
You always have the knowledge. EDID stands for what? I know what it is, but expand upon that just a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So EDID stands for Extended Display Identification Data. But Dwayne, even that explanation alone is enough to make your eyes cross and your head spin, right? So
right. I like to let you show off every once in a while.
Thank you, Dwayne. I need that from time to time. It's the handshake. We're all familiar with HDMI handshaking. Don't confuse the handshake. A lot of times people have a little confusion about it. They think the handshake, the EDID file, goes to the display. It does not. A handshake, just imagine, you can understand these things pretty well if you just break it down into simple point to point. The display to the source. The display is going to provide a handshake to the connected HDMI source, telling that source, here's what I can do. Give me 1080p, give me 2-channel audio as an example, okay? Because if that connected HDMI source can do 4K and surround sound, and it just blindly outputs that video and audio format respectively, well, we're gonna have a lot of incompatibility, aren't we? So the handshake goes backward, if you will, the opposite direction from the HDMI signal. The handshake goes from the display to the source, so that the source can output that HDMI audio and video together and to the display, to that sync device. So we give you EDID handshake management in all these Key Digital full buffer products. We see it here, this EDID rotary. Simply put in your mini screwdriver there, turn, you feel a click each position of the way. You got 16 different EDID handshake options. And on the X444 SP and LP, you have some unique options. That number 0 there, that is an auto EDID from the RX unit. What does that mean for you? Well, there's certain video signals, video and audio formats that are really within the capability, of course, of the extenders, within the capability of the display. So we're going to ask the display what you support. We're going to filter that through the capability of the extender, and we're going to give the perfect handshake to that HDMI source so that it accommodates the handshake. Everybody's happy, video and audio all around. Now, of course, a lot of times you want to just make sure you've got 1080p. There you have the options 2, 3. We have 1920 by 1200, which from time to time, we have a lot of applications that are looking for that resolution. You have 4K at 10.2 gigabits per second and 4K at 18 gigabits per second. And then you have your DVI handshakes on settings D like Delta, E like Echo, and finally F, Foxtrot, just to follow suit. On the X444LP, there is an HDMI pass-through. So if you want to get that 7.1 surround out of a AV surround receiver connected on the pass-through port, Dwayne, you just move it over to setting F and voila, 7.1 audio.
That's excellent, because I know from my experience that sometimes when you're set on that auto EDID, it'll work and everything will be working fine. Then all of a sudden you lose audio because for whatever reason that display all of a sudden said it's no longer analog audio, it's digital audio. But then maybe the DirecTV box doesn't support that, and all of a sudden your audio goes away. You force that setting, and then that never happens. And hence why we would have the different settings. If it would always auto copy without issue, then you would just put it on 0 and move on. But we all know that not every device and not every display always works the way it should out of the box.
I'll give another example because that's a really good one, right? And what brings us together here is that we're all trying to make this work 100% all the time, right? Well, and so you know, a very common HDMI source device, your DirecTV H and HR receivers, right? Those things now, you know, you want to feel old, those things came out like 10 plus years ago, right? And so sometimes you give a 4K handshake to those sources and they don't even know what that means, right? Because that was not even on the horizon over a decade ago. So that's an example of when, you know, we've seen various reactions out of those DirecTV set-top boxes. Maybe they give you video but no audio, DVI, because they're kind of defaulting there. Well, that's a perfect example. Turn that dial to number 2 there, or excuse me, number 1 is probably where you want to go, 1080p with 2-channel audio, and you're up and running. So speaking of up and running, one of the things that, you know, we're all familiar with the EDID handshake, but the other that really just makes Key Digital so unique in our offering is this forced hot plug detection. So Dwayne, I'm going to just go ahead and assume you want me to explain what that is. So
please do, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So when you're, let's say that you've got that cable box at home, okay? And I use the home example, even though primarily Key Digital is installed in commercial job sites, right? But just imagine that one-to-one. That's really what's important, okay? The one-to-one, the source to the display. Now imagine that cable box. A lot of people do not turn their cable box off, right? But of course they turn on the TV, they turn off the TV when they're done viewing. In the world of HDMI, that HDMI source should be smart enough to know when it should output audio and video over the HDMI cable to the connected display. And the way it knows if it has a live partner so that it can begin is hot plug detection. The display turns on, it's going to send voltage backward to the source. The source is going to say, hey, I have a live partner here. And guess what? Next, the EDID handshake, okay? Followed by the HDCP authentication if your HDMI source device and content is HDCP. So sounds simple. The TV turns on, sends it backward to the source. The source actually completes the loop, providing voltage to the display as well. Everybody now knows they have a live partner and they're ready to go. Sounds simple. Of course, we don't always live in the world of one-to-one connectivity. You know, in professional AV installations, you may end up with a situation like this. Everything's connected. All the lights are on, but nobody's home. You get a signal like a message, error message like this generated by the display, which says, check your connection. Well, like I said, you do, everything's there. And you just flip this switch, forced HPD on, boom. Now that display says, hey, lo and behold, there is a device here because it just got that voltage. And lo and behold, there's already an audio video signal ready to go there. So this is a great troubleshooting tool. Resolves a lot of issues in the field because we all know digital video has all these, these pitfalls that you can really suffer from. That's Key Digital in a nutshell. We embed all of these fixing tools to help you overcome those pitfalls and install it right the first time without having to roll out a van and with an RMA unit, and then you keep struggling with the same problem. The other thing is with that hot plug set to the on position, it can help your sync time out by giving you a picture on display that much faster.
Absolutely. And it's so easy just to flip the switch and turn it on and test. And you may need to leave that on depending on the type of system you're putting it in.
That's right. That's right. So, those, again, were the commonalities between all the extenders. Let's look a little deeper at the X444SP. This gives you that full 18 gigabits per second video signal, right? So it supports 4K at up to 60 frames per second, 444 chroma subsampling, 12-bit deep color or 8-bit deep color at 60 hertz, and 12-bit at 30, 24, and 30 frames per second. It does 4K and 1080p at the same distance. That's 164 feet, 50 meters.
I will say that is actually over Cat6 cable. If you were to use Cat6A, you can get longer range out of these. The better the Cat6A, the longer the range, but it will even exceed that 50 meters. But we want to be cognizant that not everybody's going to use, the most expensive cable out there. But these ranges are based on Cat6, and that's pretty much what everybody's gone to these days anyway.
Yeah. I mean, Cat6A, if you could use it on your AV job sites, great, right? If you have that opportunity. And that A, for those who don't know, stands for augmented. And so you have the augmented twist. So your standard Cat5, Cat5Es, they're twisted if you were to terminate your cat wire, every color set has a color pair has a different twist per inch. And in an augmented cable, they actually, because they have other methods of preventing crosstalk other than different TPI, they're all twisted the same twists per inch count. And so it's just so beneficial in the audio video world because all of your data arrives at the same time. Whereas with the standard Cat5e, Cat6, they arrive at different times. And also the higher TPI is like a longer distance, a longer run cable, right? So there's actually a lot more feet in the cat wire with all those twists versus what you see just through the jacket, which is jacketing all 4 of those twisted pairs. So there's a lot of benefits into that by using an augmented cable. That's a great point, Dwayne. The other feature that people really like is this flexible power over cat. You do see 2 power supply or power connections, pardon me. There's only 1 power supply, and that's all you need. You can power it on either the transmit or receive side.
And that's very handy because sometimes you're like, look, I don't have an extra power at the display, but I've got plenty of power back in the rack where I'm sending it from. So, and then other times you don't have any more room in the rack and you'd rather just power it right at the display, but power the transmitter on the other end. So very flexible and we do that with all of our extender kits now. We have that power on both ends, right? Even the maybe not the PS22U. I can't remember on that one.
No, you're absolutely right. On the PS22U also, you can plug it in on either side.
Yeah, and it's either way. I mean, we've had it where it's one way, but sometimes we force you to do it at the transmit. But here it's both ways, so it's very flexible.
Yeah, yeah. The last product for that was the X222PO, which we really look at this X444SP as the replacement part to the 222PO, and so this is just one of the many benefits with going with the new X444SP. Here's the application diagram. If I take a quick step back, actually, I should point out you've got RS-232 or IR, similar to the X222PO. You could do one or the other. You just have to set a slide switch here for, are you doing RS or are you doing IR? Of course, it's got to correspond on both ends. And the other benefit for those of you doing IR control, you talk, we listen. We've moved it over to a 3.5 millimeter for the IR, which a lot of folks prefer. And we've kept the RS-232, meanwhile, on the Phoenix connector, which for RS-232 applications is the preferred connectivity. So we're really able to optimize the connectivity there, hopefully reduce your time installing your systems. We include in the box, like I said, it's a kit. So there's the power supply, both the transmit and the receive unit, an IR sensor and an IR emitter. So we're showing here the IR sensor. It's a very common application. You got a cable box in an equipment closet or a piece of furniture, out of sight, out of mind. So the display is just hanging really nice, really beautiful, no wires. We include the IR sensor, so you can just point the remote at it, sends the IR backward. The IR emitter is also included in the box, mounted over that cable satellite box to control it. And outside of that in the owner's manual, and you got some L brackets for mounting, I think that's all of the accessories on the X444SP.
And the nice thing is one wire does it all. You get the signal from the cable box and you get the IR back to control the cable box and right there at the display.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us to the LP model, X444LP, the long range product. We see that distance performance at 70 meters, 230 feet. Or greater with the Cat6A. Now, in addition to the long range capability, we have the HDMI pass-through port on the transmitter. We've mentioned already how you could connect a monitor or a surround receiver to that pass-through to get the high-def audio formats, your 7.1 Dolby and DTS. Okay, you could copy the EDID from that surround receiver there if you'd like. And so here's the application example going up to 230 feet, 70 meters. Use that HDMI pass-through. For those of you that are more visually inclined, here's the exact application example that we've alluded to there. And this is a really common application, to have surround receiver in a zone and use that pass-through for that. Or if we're talking about a presentation space that's going to want to have a confidence monitor, a presenter's monitor, so they can see their content they're presenting without having to look over their shoulder every few moments at their slides behind them there.
Or it can feed two displays, one there and one at the other end.
That's a great point, Dwayne. Yeah. You get that 2-for-1 bonus, right?
Exactly.
So, just a reminder, because start off this discussion, we just talked about how commonly used our extenders are. And if you're going to be mounting a lot of those in your rack, for example, we do have the KD-SMS shelf mount solution, which can hold up to 12 of these extenders in one rack, give you a nice uniform look. And also when you mount up to the 12, you've got space for ventilation. And so it just really ensures that you're not ending up in a bad situation with, heat, overheating products and that sort of thing. So please do start using the SMS. It's a shelf mount solution, not only for these products, but really all of our non-full rack width, half rack width products, anything that's not rack mountable, instead shelf mountable. They're all universally compatible with SMS-16.
And easy. There's multiple mounting locations on the SMS-16. to do that with the existing screws out of the chassis. Just pops right in. It works wonderfully.
Very good. Dwayne, thanks for having me and allowing me to introduce everybody to the X444SP and the X444LP. We know these are going to be your new favorite HDMI extenders. And being that they are new, we want you to reach out to sales at keydigital.com to get started with these. Please talk to our sales team, and we're going to get these in your hand. Just please reach out. Anything you'd like to add to that, Dwayne?
No, I think you've covered it all, Jonathan. And like I said, reach out to sales at keydigital.com. Check them out for deep dive on our website, keydigital.com. And if you want to do any training, always remember our KD University, and that's free on keydigital.com. And reach out to us for any of your needs, whether it just be extenders or AV over IP or anything like that. And we are very excited about these extenders. They're rock solid. You can go long distances. It's less money than what we used to sell our 444L for. So we're really excited about that, and they are doing great. So Jonathan, thank you for another exciting edition of KD Live, and we will see you